Dave Doherty, Martha Casabon, Pug Lauren, Marcus Himes, Todd Richard, Bernie Willie, Bill Matthews, Jimmy Davis, Dave Manella, Kirk Drum, Ron Randolph. Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Announcements over to my right here. There are copies of agendas as well as speaker cards. If you wish to speak, please complete one, turn it into staff, and they will get it to us. Even if you don't want to speak, you can turn one in and say you're for or against or whatever, and we'll have record of it. If there's any communication that needs to come out on a particular case, you would be notified of it since you've turned in a card. If you disagree with this commission and whatever their decision is, you have the right to appeal it to the council. The appeal forms are over on the to my right also. Each case will have 10 minutes each side, for and against, and then we will have a 5-minute rebuttal for each side. Once your case has been heard, please don't stay out in the lobby and try and discuss the case, because the noise comes back into the chambers here. It causes a distraction. Exit the building. Ms. Casabon, will you lead us in invocation, please? Please rise. Mr. Manillo, the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can y'all hear us all right? I didn't think you could. Is that any better? Yes. Coming up? Is that all right now? Yes, sir. Okay, good. Next item is the approval of the minutes from March the 5th. That was in your packet. Any corrections need to be made?
Mr. Chairman,
yes, sir.
I move to approve as written.
We have a motion by Mr. Matthews to approve as written. We have a second by Okay, Pug. Okay. Please vote. Motion carries. Thank you. Staff, we have any cases that need to be postponed?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. If there's anyone here for the case that was postponed from last month's meeting on the off of Highway 433 Treasure Isle, is that what it was?
The
Treasure
first
Isle?
case is withdrawn.
Pardon?
The first
Been
case is withdrawn.
But if there's anybody here in the audience that is here for that case, it's been withdrawn, so it's not even going to be heard. 8307-076A. All right. First item is zoning case 14. Let's see. Yeah, 14-04-027. Existing zoning is A1A Suburban District. The proposed zoning is A3 Suburban District. It's 3.31 acres. This comes to us from the Parish Council motion of 2/6/2014, parcel located on the north side of Henry Road, east of Lee Road, Ward 2, District 2. Staff?
The 2025 Future Land Use Plan calls for the area to be developed with residential and agricultural uses. Considering that the site is surrounded by properties zoned A1A Suburban District, staff feels there's no compelling reason to recommend approval and recommends denial.
Thank you. All right, anyone in the audience wish to speak on this case? Anyone wish to speak against? All right, I'll close the floor to the public, bring it back to the commission. Mr. Matthews.
Mr. Chairman, staff has said they see no compelling reason. I see no compelling reason to go from A1A to A3. That opens up a tremendous number of uses. And since there's no one here to tell us why they want it, I move to deny.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Matthews to deny, seconded by Mr. Lauren. Mr. Davis, you had your light on?
No, I was going to second.
Okay, all right. Any further discussion? Will the commission please vote? We have a vote of 7-2, so the motion carries to deny. Item 3, zoning case 14-04-028. Existing zoning's A2 Suburban District and PUD Plan Unit Development Overlay. The proposed zoning is HC2 Highway Commercial District. It's 1.16 acres. This again comes to us by council motion of 2/6/2014. Parcel located on the south side of 12th Street, east of US 190, Ward 3, District 2. Staff?
This property was previously zoned commercial before the comprehensive rezoning. There's an existing commercial building on the property, and staff would like to recommend approval of the requested zoning change to HC2.
Thank you. Anyone in the audience wish to speak on this? I'll close the floor to the public, bring it back to the commission.
Is the owner here?
Apparently not. Yes, sir, Mr. Matthews.
Mr. Chairman, we looked at this in the comprehensive rezoning. The parish looked at this, the council looked at this in comprehensive rezoning. Even though the staff now has changed their mind, that they think they don't have any objection, and since there's no one here to give us any help as to why they want this or why we should do this, I move to deny.
Second that.
We have a motion
I have
by
a-
Mr. Matthews, seconded by Mr. Davis to deny. Ms. Casabon.
I believe this is another, it's coming from the council, and because of the staff recommending approval, I disagree with the denial, but vote the way you want.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
the fact that it's coming from the council doesn't make any difference to what we need to look at. And I feel that that's of really no moment to us. And,
The staff recommended it.
well, that is of more moment to us than
Well,
the
that's,
council.
it's a
But-
couple of the things.
But evidently, the staff recommended it in the beginning when we were doing the rezoning, the comprehensive rezoning. We thought it was correct in the comprehensive rezoning, and the council thought it was correct in the comprehensive rezoning. So I think my motion's appropriate.
Okay.
We have,
Mr.
is the
Davis.
petitioner here?
Is this for 7?
It's number 3.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Davis.
Yes, I think sometimes we get into the confusion. You know, when we look at these past zoning, C2, and we now talk about highway commercial 2, just for the public's interest too, these are not the same zonings. So sometimes when we try to grandfather things in and stuff like that, I think it's specific that we actually read the past zoning with the new zoning and make sure that we really want to do this.
Okay, Mr. Matthews, you still have your light on?
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, any further discussion? We have a motion to deny zoning case 14-04-028. Please vote. Pardon? All right, let's try clearing, and you have to revote. We have 4 yeas to deny, 5 nays. So the motion to deny would fail.
Make a motion to approve.
I'd like to make a motion that it be approved.
Second.
Ms. Casabon made the motion.
No,
Mark, I will
Mr.
take
Hines
you
made
as
the
a
motion
second.
and I seconded.
Okay. All right, so Ms. Casabon made a motion to approve. Mr. Hines seconded it.
Sorry.
Please vote. This is to approve. We have 6 yeas, 4 nays, so the motion to approve passes. All right, page 2. Zoning case 14-04-029, existing zoning's A4 single-family residential. Proposed zoning is A4 single-family residential and manufactured housing overlay. This is 3.5 acres. Petitioners Jeff Shane, owners Michael Fridge. Parcel located on the north side of Nina Drive, west of Transmitter Road, being lots 23 and 24, Square 9, Oak Lawn East Subdivision, Ward 7, District 7. Staff?
The 2025 future land use plan calls for residential development in the area, including mobile homes. There are several mobile homes in close proximity to the subject's parcel, and staff does not have any objection to the request. Note that a zoning change to MHO was previously requested for the same site. The zoning commission granted approval at the hearing, however, it was denied by council after hearing the appeal. At this time, staff would like to recommend approval.
Thank you. Mr. Shane.
Yes, sir. Mr. Daugherty, good evening and honorable commission. My name's Jeff Shane. I'm with the Jones Fussell Law Firm in Covington, and I represent the owner and petitioner, Mr. Michael Fridge, in connection with this case. I assume I have 10 minutes initially for the presentation, and if I'm able to reserve some time, I'd like to do so for rebuttal.
Let him know when he gets, 8 minutes, Jeff?
Sir?
8 minutes?
I'll just keep track here with my watch as well.
Okay.
Thank
All
you,
right.
sir. I'd like to start the discussion off, if we could, by looking at the staff report, and in particular, the attachment to it, which gives you the vicinity map. You'll see that this property is located in Oak Lawn East, which is south of US Highway 190. It's just west of Transmitter Road. And if you will go to the third page, or next page in your packet, you will see a survey of the property, because I think it's somewhat interesting that although this property is 2 lots, it's actually an aggregate of about 3.5 acres of property. This survey is an older survey, and the improvements that are shown on the survey, namely the trailers and structures, are no longer there. They've been removed. So in our discussion this evening, I want you to know that it's basically an unimproved property, has no improvements on it any longer. It's about 3.5 acres. There is still the large pond, however, to the rear, and the drive that you see on that survey. This case has an interesting history in that it previously had manufactured homes on it. And in fact, after Katrina, for reasons that you might imagine, the property needed to have an MHO overlay in '08 in order to place new manufactured homes on the property. My client at that time, Mr. Michael Fridge, who's with me this evening, sitting here on the front row, he, of course, petitioned the parish and had, as Ms. Lambert noted, a favorable staff recommendation and also a favorable zoning commission recommendation that the MHO layer be added to the zoning of the property. The council, after appeal, decided otherwise, and of course the property was not so zoned. Mr. Fridge has since that time attempted to market his property, either to sell it or perhaps determine what might be the best use. And because we believe that there is a large percentage of manufactured homes in the general area, he still believes that it is appropriate that manufactured homes be on each of his lot. So the first point that I wish to make to you is, what are we asking for this evening? We would like the MHO designation to be recommended by you to the council, so that my client would have an opportunity to place manufactured home on each lot. Now let's talk about some particulars. If you would look at the packet that I've handed out to you, and the top sheet is a vicinity map, but importantly it shows you Nina Drive, where these lots are located, and it also gives you the names of other streets in the surrounding area. I'd like you to look at the 2 sheets behind that map with me, please. And we thought it would be of interest to you to have some form of inventory of what is the mix in this general neighborhood. The numbers speak for themselves as it relates to what you find on the various streets. But if you'll look at the second page of the data that I gave you, in red, you will see that it's our belief that there's at least 38% of the structures in this general neighborhood that in fact are manufactured homes of some type. In fact, if you include the mobile home park that's in the vicinity, that percentage goes up to almost 58% of manufactured homes compared to stick homes in that area. We think that's important to give you an idea of what the actual land use is in the area. In fact, across the street from this property are 2 manufactured homes, and adjoining this property just down the street is a manufactured home. I'm making a point of these facts to you during my initial presentation because I believe that there will be others that speak this evening as it relates to this case, and I certainly don't know what their comments are, but I felt it's important for you to have some facts as it relates to what the character of the neighborhood is. The other thing I would like to say is that my client feels that the property in its current condition actually poses some problems to the people in the neighborhood. And the reason is simply that because there's no structures on it and no one living there, they've had situations where occasionally people have dumped things there of some sort. They've had people that have harbored some stolen vehicles there, taken a car perhaps and dropped it back in the underbrush or in the wooded area. And we always think that in a neighborhood, a property is better if there's someone on the property, obviously living there, presumably a family, that not only looks out for their own good, but sort of a neighborhood watch concept. It strengthens the neighborhood. So my client has tried to make attempts to sell the property or to lease the property. He now believes that his best opportunity is to get a manufactured home overlay, place 2 manufactured homes, 1 on each lot, be a good landlord to make sure that good law-abiding people live in those homes, keep a neat and orderly premises, and become good neighbors to those that live there. With these things having been said, I would also ask that maybe you look through the 10 or 15 or so pictures, there may be more than that, of other manufactured homes that are in that area. We wanted you to see those. Those are in fact the very manufactured homes that are cited to you in the table to give you a feel for the neighborhood. We respectfully request that you recommend that the MHO zoning overlay be added to the existing A4 zoning. And if you have questions or comments at the appropriate time, I'll be glad to answer them for you.
Thank you, Mr. Shane. Right now, we're listening to people that would like to speak supporting this zoning change. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak supporting this? Okay. Anyone in the audience that would like to speak opposing this? Please come forward, state your name and address.
My name is Jason Call. I live on Nina Drive. I live next to the property. And yes, there is a mix of manufactured homes. And when I moved on Nina Drive 13 years ago, there was 1 manufactured home on Nina Drive. Nina Drive is a large area. Most of our lots are 1 acre or a half acre and above. So you're talking a large area. So I had 1 manufactured home on my street, and it was on this property. And so we worked hard with our city councilman. There is a moratorium on manufactured homes in this area. Many people have got their manufactured homes turned down because of the moratorium. There's people on our street that had their houses turned down because of the moratorium. We did not want any more manufactured homes because of the pop-ups. There's 2 more on our street. There's 2 more across the street. It was within 3 months of me living in that all these manufactured homes popped up. And so we got with our councilman and with everybody in the area, and we said, no more. Put a moratorium in place. Please do not denigrate the property value anymore. And he's not changing the zoning for himself. He's changing this into a commercial property. This is not, oh, I'm changing it and putting a mobile home for myself. He's putting in rental properties. This is not going to be for himself. He's changing the value in order to put rental properties in there. So this is going to be a mini trailer park Rex Toomey, with a single access that goes, the driveway goes right down the side of my property. And we have seen what happens when there are people who rent from this property. We've had gunshots come from this property. We've had people knocking on my door at 3 a.m. looking for crack cocaine, trying to push by me because they couldn't find this little corner of the property. It was already, like we said, we've already turned it down on case Z11-08067 back in 2011, where we fully explained this to the full council. We've already been down this road. We've turned it down once. And I would try to sell it too because it's all swampland. There's a big mosquito pit down there. I cannot help that he tries to sell it for a sky-high price. If I tried to sell it for $1 million, you couldn't sell it for $1 million. That means he's got to drop the price on it. That's not our fault that he tried to sell it for too much money. But it doesn't mean that we want to turn a little mobile home park in the middle of the corner of our neighborhood. We had too much manufactured homes in our neighborhood. We worked hard with zoning. We worked hard with the parish council. We put in a moratorium. There's 3 houses down from me that worked hard cleaning out his lot. Yay, I'm going to put a manufactured home on this lot. He got turned down. That lot's been for sale ever since because he couldn't put a manufactured home there. The street behind me, the same situation. We have a moratorium, no more manufactured homes. There was all stick homes, and then the balance was tipped. And it's getting tipped even further, even further. You're right, there's too many manufactured homes in our neighborhood right now. And the balance is getting tipped further and further and further. And the property value is going in the toilet. And we're hoping from the zoning meeting that you can appreciate the signatures that's collected. And it's not easy going around with property acres at a time and trying to collect as many signatures on the petition that we have in front of you. I'm going to save my time for everyone else to speak. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Good evening, Council. I'm Keith Province. I live next to Jason, 2 lots over from the property.
What's your address?
You know, I'm going to not spend a lot of time reiterating, but on some of it I have to. You know, it would take a lot of time to go research a lot of stuff, but a lot of the mobile homes that Mr. Fridge's representative has said are in this area probably didn't get there legally. I got one on my phone right now that I took tonight that somebody shoved in next to the property after Katrina. And, you know, you call the police and they can't help you. We have 2 lots over towards Transmitter on my phone right now where there's a RV-type residence, people living in it, with piping run to a house on a slab, okay? When I moved out there in 1984, I bought the land in 84 and moved there in 85, there was one mobile home, and it was on that property. The trailer park that they're talking about is nowhere near this property. If it's the one that I'm thinking of, it's a mile and a half down the road. It's not in this subdivision. He spoke of the moratorium. He spoke of the case in 2011. I have the paperwork with page and a half more of signatures of people in the neighborhood that from Katrina, quite a few families spent quite a bit of money. I'm not going to put a price on it, but one road over building some nice homes in that in that Oak Lawn East subdivision, and I know they don't want to see the trailers in there. Recently, on the corner of Transmitter and Nina, when you pull in, a guy must have petitioned to get a mobile home overlay, a manufactured home put in there, and his sign was up. There was one before there. You go by there right now, the yellow sign is down, but if you look on the zoning that he's trying to get changed to, part of that is there'll be a skirt put up. We're not even enforcing that. He's been there about a year now. That trailer doesn't even have a skirt on that. The point that we're trying to make is people start out what might be good intentions here, but they do what they want afterwards. Another point I want to reiterate, Mr. Fridge is not even going to live there. It doesn't bother him or make the difference to him one way or other. I don't know what he plans on doing after he gets this. What's the next step? 2 mobile homes or 4 mobile homes or 6? What is it, you know? Where's the limit? And if we can't even enforce the code on the trailer on the corner, how are we going to enforce the code on this road that goes back in there that nobody can see? I don't want to tell you what your job is, or maybe some of your constituents. Take a ride down there and look at some of the mobile homes that are stuck in there. I mean, it's like whatever people can do and get away with it, they're going to do it, you know? And I'd like to request that y'all deny it, you know, and we'll, you know, see what happens if we have to do further stuff and fight it more. We'll try to fight it more, but I would be willing to say half these mobile homes that y'all are shown on in pictures or on his little sketch, however many percentage, half of that percentage, if he said, I'm hard of hearing, but if he said 38%, I bet half of that percentage was put in there illegally. Check it out.
Thank you. Thank you. Got 2 minutes left.
You know, part of what I'm doing
No,
right now.
wait a minute. Wait till you get up to the mic.
Part of what I'm doing right now, I've got a $67,000 grant to modify my home, and the only direction I got is to move towards the fence between me and our property. So I've got to move my house to modify it to make it handicap accessible, right next to the road of the only single access. My entire property line is his driveway. And I'm not going to have a single family home. I'm going to have renters up and down my driveway. And this is a family neighborhood. This is a single family neighborhood. That property has been a single family property since time immemorial. He's got a petition from when he did the petition. When he did it, y'all have my petition. Please, we've already done this once. This has already been settled matter. We can't have this keep coming back year after year and fighting this all over again. We're asking y'all as neighbors. We are an old neighborhood. We've got a lot of elderly neighbors. They can't make it here. That's why I brought 67 of them on a piece of paper. Please turn this down for our neighborhood. And that's all I've got to say.
Thank you.
Y'all have copies of
Yeah.
my petition? Thank you very much.
Well, one of us will give you a copy of it. So, anyone else? We got just a little over a minute. Anyone else wish to speak against?
More petitioners that want to sign.
Yes, my name is George Whirling. I live on Nina Drive. And after Katrina, I am one of the people, and there's other people in here, we built $250,000 homes to upgrade the neighborhood. And this property is right behind my house. And there's a lot of elderly people there, retirees, and it's always been just family. And now this gentleman wants to put mobile homes in there and rent them. He's not even going to live there. So we are totally against this. Like I said, it got turned down before, and, you know, I thought they had a moratorium, but apparently you can just keep coming back and coming back. He has a lawyer now, but we're still going to keep fighting. And if it passes, then we'll appeal it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak against? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. I'm Cheryl Province. I live at 30193 Nina Drive. I'm 2 lots down from this residence, from the place that Mr. Fridge is talking about. I've been there for 28 years. I enjoy my neighborhood. Over the years, though, I have seen it deplete somewhat. And some of it is, I think, that it has been passed, and I think some I can actually tell you is not passed. All right? So people will they'll squat places and stuff, you know, and it seems to happen, and then it's done, and then they're there, and we all get comfortable. I'm not comfortable. I've been there 28 years. I was comfortable. I'm getting uncomfortable. Okay? Mr. Fridge has a personal interest in the lot. It is his lot, but he's not residing there. That is supposed to be the place that I reside for the rest of my life. I have a special interest there. Okay? And I would appreciate that you would consider 2 years ago what we came to do that again, to appeal it, okay? Or deny it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, we're going to go to the rebuttal side of it. Mr. Shane.
Thank you. How much time did I have from the?
From his
3 minutes and 28 seconds.
Okay, thank you. I respect the comments that were made by the residents this evening, because I understand, of course, that that's where they live, some of them obviously for many years. But I respectfully disagree with many of the comments made by them. A couple of things that I think are factual. Staff, correct me if I'm wrong, or legal counsel, but there is no moratorium to prohibit you from recommending a manufactured home overlay on this property. So that legal term, at least, that's a misnomer. Now, probably what's being suggested is that there was a time in our parish, a very long time, when you didn't even have a manufactured home overlay district. And so now, of course, we have that specific district, as you well know, because you have cases probably almost monthly that seek this zone. And yes, my client is honestly telling you and the residents that he does not intend to live there. But I hope they and you would also respect his rights as a property owner to utilize his property in a legal and lawful manner. In fact, you know, to me, it's very unfair to suggest that because he has honestly said he wishes to place 2 manufactured homes there, that there's some suggestion that that's going to be a negative or create a problem. As it relates to the people that might end up renting from him, would those people be any different if they each lived in a 1,000-square-foot stick home on each one of those lots? This is going to be single-family residential. This is not multifamily. It's not commercial. We're going to meet every code. We'll have driveways and drainage and do all of the things that the parish should require, and particularly as it relates to the manufactured homes that we place on the property, as it relates to skirts and things of that nature. We don't condone the fact that there may be, and I use the word may be properties in that neighborhood that perhaps did not have the proper permits or don't meet code. But I think to suggest that we're not going to allow someone that owns property to develop or utilize their property, again, in a legal and lawful manner, I mean, I think that's what this country and the laws are all about, to give people that opportunity. I think the sins of the past, meaning the problems that may have occurred, whatever they might have been, they're very regrettable. and I don't make light of that, and I understand that the residents there don't want to see that happen again. But I'm not sure that you can assume that the sins of the past are going to reappear just because someone actually now is going to clean up a 3.5-acre site and use it for 2 residences. I would tell you that his property, in terms of the size of the lot in relation to the residence, is considerably larger than most of the other parcels in that area. I've ridden the neighborhood 3 or 4 times now, and I feel confident in saying that. So I don't think that it's going to be a density problem. It's certainly, if I heard the gentleman that lives next door's comments correctly, I thought he was suggesting that maybe there's a shared driveway. We will have our own independent driveway. We don't intend to infringe on his property or be any closer to the common property line than the law allows. In fact, we expect to have these manufactured homes to the rear of the property, far off the street, and quite frankly, probably even less obtrusive, if that's the right word, to anyone that might live in the area. At the end of the day, the data that I gave you was to try to give you a feel for the actual land use that is occurring across the street, literally, bigger than life. 2 units. Next door, down the street, about 3 units, bigger than life. It's only to suggest that there are other properties that are there that are presumably meeting the law, that are good residents, that aren't causing problems. What reason do we think that my client's utilization of his property in this manner would likewise be problematic? The other thing I would suggest to you is that whether the trailer park is included or not, the suggestion was that we don't count noses in a case like this and decide that because there's a certain percentage, we're going to do it. I believe that the standard that you try to follow is whether or not the suggested zone is in fact going to be compatible in the area. And I would suggest to you that you have to look to the history of the area and the actual land use. And I think that's what this data confirms. Let me close by saying one thing. My client understands in living color that it's going to be his job to make sure that he does the best job that anyone can be expected to do as it relates to the improvements that he makes on the site, the manner in which he manages these properties, to make sure that people are law-abiding, and to make sure that, in fact, they are good neighbors to those that live in the area. And for those reasons, we hope you make this recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shane. All right, we're in the rebuttal phase. This is on the far side. Anyone else wish to speak rebuttal on this? All right, we will go to those of you that are against this. If you have any further comments, please come forward and state your name again and let us hear from you.
Yeah, again, you know, he's not going to reside there. He's not going to reside there. So, you know, the fact that he wants to improve the land with mobile homes, he's not going to reside there, so it doesn't matter. You know, I mean, if they're happy with the mobile homes being there and abiding by the law, don't put them way in the back. You know, the problems in the past was the drug dealing, the fighting, and all the other stuff going on. His relatives, if I'm not mistaken. So, you know, let him build a house back there. Put a house back there. Do like some of these people in the neighborhood that moved there after Katrina. Put a big house back there. You know, we don't want the mobile homes. The mobile homes that got in there, like I said, probably half of them got in there not legally, not abiding by the rules and the laws. And again, you got one right down the street on the corner, a transmitter in Nina, that he had his yellow sign and got his permit and paid his money to put it there. Been there about a year. He don't have a skirt around it, which is part of that
part of the approval process.
the rules that go along with it, with the mobile home. And like I said, I got the stuff on my phone of next to his property where one was stuck back there after Katrina. Just put it back there when total chaos, the whole parish, Katrina. And he shoves a mobile home back there. And next to him, the one that's an RV with piping running to the house. This is the type of stuff that's in that neighborhood and happening. Go check it out for yourself. And again, I would like to respectfully ask not to grant him the right to put the mobile homes in there. Thank you.
Thank you.
He can't decide who goes back there. There's fair housing laws. You get a cruddy neighbor back there, it'll take months and months to get him out of there. If anybody, Joe Crackhead, wants to move back there and can pay his rent, he's gonna have to rent to him because there's fair housing laws. And the way it works is y'all know how long it takes to somebody legally evict somebody. You cannot legally say who and when I'm going to rent to somebody. There's fair housing laws. Nobody can tell, oh, I'm going to rent to this person and I'm going to rent to that person. There's laws against that. You can't tell me that you're going to be able to do that and decide who gets back there and who doesn't get back there. There's federal laws that get that. He's going to end up with federal prison next to his brother. They can't do that. It's illegal. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I apologize. But it's the case. You can't decide who rents to anybody. It's federal laws and acts against that.
Okay, anyone? Yes, ma'am.
Oh, hello. I'm going to recall again. There was at one time a trailer there long ago. Okay. I do also remember looking across my two lots and going, is that a candlelight? Oh, there's no electricity. These people were living there at one time, whether electricity was cut off, because there were so many issues that actually happened on that lot. I can go on and tell you all of the personal issues that happened on that lot. But it would take a little bit longer. But there was times when I saw a candle. Now that's dangerous. And there were 2 children at one time that lived in a trailer back there. Okay, that place was removed because of animals that were back there that was misused. Okay, pit bulls and were back there. Actually had them, chasing people in the neighborhood. We had to have, McCrae come out and all kinds of things happen. There's always been an issue on that lot, always. And as far as the trailers on the, in the area, I can tell you, being there for 28 years, it's popped up. It's been disappointing. Again, I don't know about his 38%. I'd really like him to actually take me around the neighborhood and count out 38%. I really would. But they have popped up. They have nice homes that have popped up also, if you look around. But my neighbors next door to me are 85 years old. They don't need that kind of trouble. We take care of them. We watch them. I cut their grass. We all look after one another. People across the street from them, at one time, they had a trailer. They had to have that trailer for a certain period of time, and they were forced
your
to
rebuttal
build a
time is up.
home.
Your rebuttal time is up, so please
Okay, I'm
wrap up.
sorry. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So we've heard both sides. We've had rebuttal. And I want to close the floor to the public, bring it back to the commission. Ms. Lambert, are you aware of any current moratoriums on this property?
No, sir.
Okay. Mr. Hand has also indicated that he was not aware of any. So right now, apparently, there's not any standing moratoriums on that property, that particular property. All right, Mr. Davis?
Yes, I feel the frustrations of the individuals living out there. The first thing I think we can do, which is really not a zoning issue, but Helen, can you get code enforcement to go check out all the properties west of transmitters to the corner of Diane Street, and just make sure that everybody's in code enforcement as far as the skirting and stuff like that. This would be only a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 streets. I just make a request for them to do that. Has anybody done that? I mean, has anybody actually called code enforcement out there on the individuals that you're having a problem with?
If I'm not mistaken, the gentleman who was up front, maybe it appears that he has the addresses of the properties in question that he was referring to, which would be very helpful for us to send code enforcement to.
Yeah, but I'm just talking about just from giving these people a peace of mind, at least that the parish is actually going to be looking at these properties in question. I live in Lacombe. I know this area. I go down Transmitter Road every day, to be honest, and I understand their frustration. I've actually never been off to the side on Tracy Street or Nina Drive, but I kind of feel what they're going through. So if you could, I'd like to make a recommendation. You call code enforcement to take care of that one small sectional area there.
Okay.
On the second thing, this is a zoning issue. Regardless whether the individual who owns this piece of property builds a modular home, mobile home, or 2 houses, the people that live there, whether it's himself or anybody else, doesn't make a difference. You can't distinguish what people live in your area. I mean, if he builds 2 homes out there, would you rather have crackheads in homes instead of mobile homes? See, I don't understand the rationale about that at all. I understand your frustration, though. Don't get me wrong. I understand your frustration, but from a pure zoning issue, there are modular homes out there in that area. Purely. So from a zoning issue on that. Now, obviously, if this board determines that we're going to go ahead and grant the zoning issue, then you can go to your councilman, and you know who that is. That's Jake Grovey, and you'd have to go to them.
Mr. Matthews.
Well, I took a look at this area. I drove out there Sunday. I didn't drive the whole area, but I did go on Google Earth and looked at all the properties. There are dozens, at least, of mobile homes in this area. It's difficult on a zoning question only to say that if there are dozens of mobile homes and 2 directly across the street that I saw, that we can legally deny them to have a mobile home on this piece of property. Talked a great deal about trailers or mobile homes, manufactured homes, being out in this area that are not up to code or are there illegally. If that's the case, code enforcement is where you need to be. You need to call code enforcement. Helen is going to ask them to go out there and look at it, but you individually need to call code enforcement and tell them the house at such and such a address is not up to code, and they will come out and take a look. And if they're not, they'll be cited, and things will be done. We have a code enforcement court in this parish now. That being said, the gentleman that wants to put mobile homes and manufactured homes on this piece of property has vowed through his attorney, who most of us know and respect, that he is going to do whatever is up to code on those mobile homes. If he doesn't, then you need to call code enforcement and make sure that he does. Been a lot of talk about the type of people that will maybe be in those mobile homes or manufactured homes. If he puts 2 stick-built homes on that piece of property, he can rent those today. What's the difference whether they are stick-built rentals or manufactured home rentals? Are the people going to be any different, any better, any worse? I don't think we can make that determination. I don't think we will ever know that. If the fact that it's mobile homes or manufactured homes means that they're going to be less desirable, then I question all those people that are out there. I was amused to notice that at least 2 and possibly more of the people that have signed this petition appear to be people that live in mobile homes. They live in them but are against them. That's puzzling. I don't understand what the problem is in an area that has a high percentage of manufactured homes, why you're against this. What happened on this piece of property in the past is of no interest to us. The people that live there aren't there. You yourself have said that. There evidently was a bad actor, according to you all, that lived there, and he's now in prison, according to what you've said in your letter. Well, he's gone. That doesn't mean that the next person that moves in there is going to be a bad actor. I would make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Mr. Matthews to approve, seconded by Mr. Davis. Mr. Willie.
Yeah, I guess I have a question of staff. In 2011, we granted approval, and then it was overturned by the council. Did they state a reason why they overturned it?
I don't have that information, sir, I'm sorry. It would be probably in the minutes of the meeting itself.
Okay.
But when the ordinance comes to us, there's no particular reason stated in.
That was Mr. Hamway.
Yeah, it was just different councilman at the time, I understand, but, I thought maybe staff would know that, so.
Any further discussion? I'll call for a vote. Please vote. Yeah, this is to approve. Motion carries. Thank you. All right, item 5, zoning case 14-04-030, existing zoning's A1, proposed zoning's A1, and a manufactured housing overlay. It's 4 acres. This comes to us from Parish Council motion of 2/6/2014, located on the north side of Stewart Road, east of Green Valley Road, being 12132 Stewart Road, Folsom, Ward 3, District 3. Staff?
The 2025 future land use plan calls for the front part of the site to be developed with residential and agricultural uses, and the other half of the site to be as planned district with single-family residence and conservation area. Staff does not have any objection to the request, as it appears Stewart Road is developed with a mix of mobile homes and stick-built homes, and staff recommends approval.
Thank you. Is the owner of this property here? Yes, sir. Please come forward. Good evening.
Good evening.
You want to tell us a little bit about what you want to do?
Yes, sir. My name is Justin Plummer. I thank y'all for y'all's time. My grandpa's owned that piece of property for years and years. I bought some property from him with the intent to live out there. I would eventually like to build a home, a stick-built home on the property. At the current time, the way the economy is and being in college and owning a small business, I feel it would be a wiser decision for me to put a mobile home out there at a less of an expense, and come back down the road when the finances are in the right situation and build a stick-built home.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else in the audience wish to speak on this? I'll close the floor to the public, bring it back to the commission. Mr. Casabon.
Yes, I'm familiar with the area, and there are manufactured homes there. I'll make a motion to approve.
The second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the MHO overlay. Any further discussion? Please vote. Motion carries. Item 8, zoning case 14-04-031, existing zoning is A3, proposed zoning is A3 with a manufactured housing overlay. It's .49 acres. The petitioner is Claude Grace. The owner is Claude Grace, partial located on the south side of Massey Street, west of 8th Street, east of Iron Street, being lot 27, square 7, Hillcrest subdivision, Ward 10, District 6. Staff?
The 2025 future land use plan calls for the area to be developed with residential uses, including manufactured homes. Staff has no objection and would like to recommend approval of the request.
Thank you. All right. If you'd like to speak, please come forward and state your name and address.
Claude Grace. I'm just seeking approval on the property. The entire street is nothing but mobile homes, and I plan on putting a 2014 mobile home on there, so it'll probably improve the area, because the rest of them's kind of old, but that's all there is mobile homes in the area.
Okay.
So, that's about all I had to say. Yeah, I think it'll improve the neighborhood with the, new mobile home. It's gonna be brand new.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Lady.
Okay. Anyone else in the audience wish to speak? I'll close the floor to the public, bring it back to the commission. Mr. Hines.
Yes, sir. I'd like to make a motion that be approved.
We have a motion by Mr. Hines, seconded by Mr. Willie. Any further discussion? Please vote. Who left? Okay. All right, motion carries. Thank you. Item 7, zoning case 14-04-032. Existing zoning is HC1 Highway Commercial District. The proposed zoning is HC2 Highway Commercial District. It's 1.47 acres. The petitioner is Kenneth Starling. The owner is Kenneth Starling. Parcel located on the south side of US 190, east of Banner Road, west of Westminster Drive, Ward 9, District 14. Staff?
The 2025 future land use plan calls for the area to be developed with commercial uses. Staff does not have any objection to the request and would like to recommend approval. And just as a note, it was Zone C2 before the comprehensive rezoning.
Thank you. Mr. Starling? Ms. Starling?
I'm Barbara Starling, the mother of Ken Starling. This is my son's property, so I'm here to represent him if you have any questions. They've already given the location, and the property is for sale, and that we are in hopes that the change of our piece of property, because there's a piece adjoining it that we understand has already been changed to HC2, that entire acreage would then be HC2, which could facilitate the sale maybe to one individual. Also open opportunities for leasing, selling, and then leasing in the interim while we're waiting for the property to sell. It's one side, both vacant, but the property next door that's occupied is the post office on Highway 11 in Slidell. And then the next two, our lot and the next lot, are vacant lots that adjoin each other.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak on this? I'll close the floor to the public, bring it back to the commission. Mr. Davis.
Helen, one question. Looking at the map itself, the little image map that you have, does this property butt up against that HC2 property on the,
Yes, it does. We
Okay,
just need
okay.
to realign the map, but it is.
okay, yeah, because it kind of looked like a little confusion to me whether it was going to be HC1 on both sides after we, okay. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll
We have a
second.
motion by Mr. Davis to approve,
I'll second.
seconded by Mr. Hines. Any further discussion? Please vote. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 8, zoning case 06-07-053, major amendment to a PUD, Plan Unit Development Overlay. It's 11,981.35 square feet. Petitioner's Paul Marone. The owner is Darren C. Short. Parcel located on the south side of Briar Hollow Drive, north and west of Hummingbird Drive, being lots 528A, Chafuncta Club Estates, Phase 2, Ward 1, District 1. Staff?
The request consists of a reduction of the rear yard setback from 10 feet to 3 feet on lot 528A. The subject lot abuts a no-cut green space buffer owned by Chafuncta Club Estates, and staff has no objection to the request and would like to recommend approval of the major amendment to the PUD.
Thank you. Mr. Maroon?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Paul Maroon on behalf of the petitioner, Mr. Short. This is a similar request that this commission has seen on other occasions. I think the last of which that I was involved in was June of last year, where we had the exact same situation. We have a parcel that backs up to deep green space, and because of various improvements, in this case it's a proposed swimming pool, we're asking for relief on this lot only of the setback to allow it for 3 feet. We've been in contact with Chafuncta Club Estates. Their board and architectural review committee have looked at it. They have no objection and have issued a letter to that accord. So we would respectfully request approval of amendment to the PUD to allow the setback to 3 feet, with the understanding that because we're backing up to over 250 feet of green space, it'll have no negative impact on any adjacent owners.
Okay, thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else in the audience wish to speak on this? Close the floor to the public, bring it back to the commission. PUD?
Paul, one question. That MD1, is that Christwood?
Yes.
All right, so there will be a 250-foot no cut between the two?
Actually, there's yes, there is a buffer, but we're actually on the south side of Briar Hollow, I believe. So you'd have to cross Briar Hollow, then there's green space, then you'd get to the Christwood property.
All right, are there lots on the north side of Briar Hollow?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so this lot will not back up to, okay.
No.
All right, motion by Mr. Lauren to approve. Do we have a second? Second. All right, any further discussion? Mr. Yeah.
Matthews.
Bill?
Been called a lot of things, yeah, in one of them, but I've been called worse. So. Paul, there is, first of all, this house is on the south side of Briarwood Hollow Drive, right?
That is correct.
Thank you, Martha. This is a loop, so there are houses on the rest of this loop?
Yes, there are lots along the loop, and in the center of the loop, if you will, is all no-cut green space.
Okay, and that's a 250-foot
That's
no-cut
correct.
buffer. Okay, I thought it was between the MD1 and this. Do we know whether we have any objections from lot 529A and 527A?
Not that we're aware of. And as I said, this started with the inside Chafuncta with the approvals that needed to be garnered there. Those were all granted before we made our petition here.
Okay. And I don't have any problem with it. Do we have a motion?
We had
Okay.
motion
Okay.
and a second, yes. Any further discussion? Please vote. Motion carries. Thank you. Page 3, plan review cases. Item 1, PR 14-04-002, uses of bank, quarter Tammany trace overlay. Zoning is HC2 Highway Commercial District. It's 3,565 square feet. Petitioner is Michael Hurley. Owner is Mutual Savings and Loan Association. Representative is Hurley Homes LLC. Parcel located on the west side of Capitol Trace Road, north of Coop Drive, west of Louisiana Highway 59, being 68021 Capitol Trace Road, Mandeville, Ward 4, District 5. Staff?
A site and landscape plan have been submitted that meet all the requirements. Staff recommends approval of the proposal, subject to all applicable regulations and the conditions as written below in the staff report.
Thank you. Mr. Hurley? I knew we'd finally get down to that group back there in the back.
Good evening. I'm Mike Hurley, and I'll answer any questions that I can.
Okay. I guess one of them that I have, and I think the property's right over
Right across
over
the
here.
street, yeah.
Is there any power lines that run across the property?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
We back up to the trace, and then the side property is at the law office there.
Okay. Well, I noticed, that is overhead power lines coming in off of Coop Drive, and I didn't know if this piece of property had anything. So let me, Doug?
Just for the record, are you in full agreement with all 10 of those staff recommendations?
Yes, we're not asking for any variances of any kind.
Okay.
I think we're meeting the code, and we're going to meet everything that we have over 40,000 we have about 40,000 square feet there, and we're only putting 3,500 square feet of building on it.
Okay, Mr. Matthews.
Is this property is not going to front on Coop Drive, is that correct?
No, it does not.
There's a piece of property between this and
Yeah,
Coop Drive.
yeah, we're a lot off, if you will, of Coop Drive.
The packet that we were given shows a sign that you're proposing to put on this piece of property?
We're going to meet the code, whatever the sign, whatever's allowed for the sign.
Okay, because this shows an LED sign,
Uh-huh,
and I don't think that you're going to get an LED sign in this parish.
okay.
I just wanted to make sure we weren't planning on putting an LED sign there.
Yeah, the signage isn't as important to us, but not, we'll meet the code.
Okay, move to approve.
We have a motion by Mr. Matthews to approve, seconded by Mr. Hines. I'm a little bit confused about the staff comments. I mean, there was one thing here that, like item 3, provide a revised landscape plan, but somewhere here I said that everything had been done, but it's kind of contradicting each other, it was to me.
It says before final landscaping inspection. We
Okay.
always request a final landscape plan but once the building is up and they're ready for inspection.
Okay, all right. Good deal. We have a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? Please vote. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a good
Thank
evening.
you. Do we have any old business? Mr. Matthews?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, okay. Any new business? Motion to adjourn? We have a motion to adjourn. Huh?
You might want to talk to these ladies. It's something about their property.